about all the animals and plants in the sea. But before we get started, repeat after me. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hail, hail, we're AquaTots. Hail, hail, we're AquaTots. Hail, hail, we're AquaTots. Hail, hail, we're AquaTots.
Hi friends, and welcome back to AquaTots. This week we are going to be learning about smaller critters and different habitats as we explore what's under the rock. But to get started, let's hang out with Rocky and Mr. Tom.
Hi there, friends. It's Tom back here with my good friend Rocky the Penguin. Everybody say, hey, Rocky! And it's time for freeze dance. The rules are simple. When you hear music, you dance. When you don't hear music, you stop. Then when you hear the music, you start up again. Rocky, do you have it? You got it? You good to go? Let's go, guys. Just do what Rocky does. Here we go. Oh, penguins, oh, they can fly, they can fly super deep. When they want to walk around up on the ground and they want to with their penguin feet. Oh, we're gonna waddle like a penguin, like a penguin, like a penguin. I want to see you waddle like a penguin, like a penguin. Here we go. Oh, waddle. Waddle, 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 like a penguin. Oh, waddle, 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 like a penguin. That was really good. Remember, when you hear the music stop, you freeze. All penguins don't live with Santa Claus. They don't need that snow and ice. In fact, our penguins are from Africa, and we think they're pretty nice. Oh, waddle. Waddle, 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 like a penguin. Oh, waddle, 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 waddle. Waddle, 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 like a penguin. Everybody waddle. Let me see you waddle, Rocky. Oh, waddle, 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 like a penguin. Oh, waddle, 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 waddle. Waddle like a penguin. Awesome job, everybody! Woo!
Now that we've moved around a little, let's take a seat because Miss Tristan is here with our first story. Make sure to listen closely and count how many animals she mentions.
Hi guys, welcome to AquaTots today. I'm Miss Tristan, and I'm really excited to share our story with you today. It is Once There Was a Tree by Natalia Romanova, and this book was actually given to me when I was about 7 years old, so let's go find what's hidden inside and meet all of our different animals. All right. Once there was a tree. It had grown for many years, and now it was growing old. Dark clouds swept across the sky, rain fell, thunder roared, and a lightning bolt split the tree in two. A woodsman came upon the broken tree and sawed it down so that only the stump remained. Soon a bark beetle with long feelers settled in. The beetle loved the stump and laid her eggs under its bark. The eggs hatched and tiny maggots emerged. All summer long they gnawed tunnels in the bark. Winter came and they slept. When they awoke in the spring with long feelers of their own, it was time to fly away. But the tree stump was not deserted for long. With all the entrances and exits the maggots had made, here was the perfect place for ants to live. One ant brought a leaf, another a twig, and another a grain of sand. They cleared out the tunnels and made the stump their home. A bear appeared. A bear approached the tree stump, sniffed at it, and sharpened her claws on the bark. The stump was hers, like everything else around. Even the ants in the stump were hers, and no other bear would dare disturb them. A titmouse flew down and landed on the stump. She spotted an ant dragging a caterpillar and pecked at it. Now the caterpillar was hers. The ants were hers too, and so was the tree stump. No other birds would come near. One rainy day, a frog found shelter in a hole in the tree stump. Time and weather had dug these holes, which would protect others who also passed by. The warm sun dried the tree stump, and soon a new occupant had moved in, an earwig. Liking nothing better than the shade, he crept under the bark to sleep. A man was walking in the woods and saw the tree stump. He sat down on it to rest, and now the tree stump was his. The man thought he owned the forest and the earth, so why not the tree stump? But who really owns the tree stump? The bark beetle that gnaws tunnels inside it? The ants that travel through the tunnels? The earwig that sleeps under its bark? Or the bear that uses it to sharpen her claws? Does it belong to the titmouse that flies down upon it? The frog that finds shelter in one of its holes? Or the man who believes he owns the forest? Maybe the tree stump belongs to all, the beetle and the ants, the bear and the titmouse, the frog, the earwig, and even the man. All must live together. Meanwhile, the tree stump gets older and older. The sun warms it, the rain cools it. Soon it begins to rot. Night comes and the forest is cast in moonlight. What remains of the tree stump glows in the dark. Now the tree stump is gone. A new tree has grown in its place. A titmouse is perched in its branches. It is her tree. An ant crawls up high on her tree. A bear lumbers by and sharpens his claws on the bark. A man lies down to rest in its shade. The tree belongs to all because it grows from the earth that is home for all. And that is the end. Thank you guys for joining me for our story today.
Did you listen closely and count the animals? Animals can be both big and small, just like habitats can be big and small. Now, one animal that can hide but is really good at helping the habitat is snakes. Today, our friend Rusty the snake is here. Mr. Sheldon is going to talk about why Rusty is an important part of nature.
Hello, photogram friends. My name is Sheldon. I'm here with my friend Rusty, our red rat snake. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some cool features about him and what makes him an awesome hunter and an awesome snake. Now, Rusty here is a red rat snake, sometimes called a corn snake. He gets the name corn snake from his corn-shaped pattern on his belly. That's where he gets his name. And also because he's a nice red color. Now, rat snakes do love to eat rats and mice. That's their favorite food. And the way he actually finds food, if you look at his face, is his forked tongue. So his tongue is actually split in two at the end, and he flicks it in and out, and that's how he finds different food, such as a mouse nearby. He can find out where he's going, where other snakes are, or where he's been, just on a flick of the tongue. Now, he also has some beautiful eyes on there. He can see pretty well, but snakes, and like Rusty, they cannot blink. Snakes don't have true eyelids, so they're constantly having their eyes open, even when they are asleep. Now, Rusty here, he is a non-venomous snake, which means he doesn't have any venom in his body. If he were to bite me, it might hurt, but I would be in no danger. Rusty is a very friendly snake. He's been with the aquarium for a very long time, and he is very used to people and one of our most friendly ambassador snakes you're ever gonna meet. But with those teeth, he'll actually hold onto a mouse and he'll actually wrap around his prey, which is known as a constrictor, which means they squeeze their prey and swallow it whole. A lot of people think of pythons and anacondas and they think of a constrictor snake. Your venomous snakes here in Florida would be like rattlesnakes or coral snakes. They don't use constriction, they use their venom to hunt. But like I said, Rusty, he's not going to bite or do anything to me at all. Now you can see he's holding on to me with his body. Snakes are legless, but they have lots of muscles all over their body and actually helps them hold on to things. Rusty does like to climb a little bit, so he'll actually use my hand like a tree branch. And he'll wrap around and use his special ribs and muscles to hold on to me. He's not squeezing me really hard. It's like someone holding your hand or giving you like a little gentle squeeze. I just make sure he's nice and comfy, like a safety rope. And that's how most snakes climb around. Now, some snakes take this to a far greater advantage. You heard of sea snakes in the Caribbean or also other part of the world. They actually use their bodies to help them swim, and they have a flattened tail. And they'll actually use a paddle and they'll swim through the ocean and dive down pretty far to catch eels and fish. There's some snakes like vine snakes that are really good at climbing trees. They're literally one giant vine. And then my personal favorite is the flying snake. So flying snakes are from Asia, and they actually spread out their body and their ribs, and they can glide from tree to tree like a flying squirrel. It's not really flying, it's more of falling with style out there. That's something cool. All snakes definitely can do different things with their body. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like snakes. They're a little bit scared of snakes. I understand. Snakes get a bad reputation. They can be a little bit scary, look a little slimy. Rusty's actually nice and smooth and covered in scales, but he's a very helpful animal. In fact, a lot of snakes are keystone species. Snakes are really good at pest control, which means they eat mice and rats. If there were too many mice and rats around, they would eat all our fruits and veggies. If you like broccoli, apples, carrots, I know I do, but imagine if there were too many mice running around. They would eat all our food, we have nothing to eat. Snakes like Rusty make sure that the mice and the rats stay in control of their populations, and we have something to eat as well. So it is very important to protect snakes. If you see a snake out in the wild, best to just leave it alone. You can look at it, get a great picture, but if you don't know if it's a dangerous snake or a friendly snake, just leave it alone. There's a good chance the snake's going to probably run away from you because we're a lot bigger than your average snake like Rusty. He's about as big as he's going to get, about 2 feet. So if you do see a wild snake, just leave it alone. He'll probably leave you alone and slither the other way, but he usually won't come after you. Like I said, most snakes, they're scared. Now, if a snake is cornered, he has his mouth. He can bite to defend himself, but that's only if he's really, really scared and really afraid he might actually get hurt or eaten. So just keep that in mind if you do see a snake around there. He's not trying to hurt you. He's just scared and defending himself. Yep. Now, if you guys do have any questions, definitely come check us out online or see our other snakes. Hope you guys did enjoy our quick talk on our lovely snake animal. Hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.
It really is great to hear just how important snakes are to the world around us. Sheldon mentioned that some people are afraid of snakes, and that's okay, but it's important to remember that they share space with other critters and are playing an important part of the habitat and keeping nature healthy. Now, Miss Debbie is here with another story. In this story, there is a critter who makes friends with the world around him. So take a seat and let's get ready to hear about another critter.
Hi everybody, my name is Debbie and I'm really excited to read to you one of my absolute favorite stories, A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. I actually brought one of my little friends here with me today who's going to sit and listen as well. This little guy carries his hiding spot around on his back, just like hermit crabs do. So you're going to learn a little bit about that as we're learning about what's hiding under rocks and hiding in cool places. Here's an animal that kind of hides all the time. So let's get going with Carle, A House for Hermit Crab. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too small, a little too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looks so, well, plain, thought Hermit Crab. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. Wow, it's getting pretty cool. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. How tidy and how hard-working you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house? I would, offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Whew. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. How fierce you look, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to protect my house? I would, answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. Ooh, look at that shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. It's so dark in here, thought Hermit Crab. How dim it is, murmured the sea anemone. How gloomy it is, whispered the starfish. How murky it is, complained the coral. I can't see, said the snail. It's like a nightmare. Nighttime, cried the sea urchin. It does look like nighttime, I think. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. How bright you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to light up our house? I would, replied one of the lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. How sturdy you are, said Hermit Crab. Would you mind if I rearranged you? Not at all, answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. Now my house is perfect, cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, even the smooth pebbles. They've been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They're like a family. How can I ever leave them? In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I have a little small hermit crab here. I have outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I have outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. There are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. And that is Eric Carle's A House for Hermit Crab. Again, one of my favorite stories about an animal who carries his house around on his back and also uses it as a way to protect himself and hide.
I really liked how the hermit crab not only made friends with others, but he shared with the other hermit crab. Both of those things are really great. And we have hermit crabs right here at the Florida Aquarium. And another friend has stopped by to share information with you about these hidden creatures.
So hi everyone, this is a Caribbean purple pincher hermit crab. Now this one's a little bit different than the one that you guys had heard in the book. This one actually lives on land. And so this hermit crab, similar to the book, will actually share shells. So when it gets too big for this shell, it'll find a new shell and it'll leave this one behind, and other hermit crabs will actually come and use it. Now, sometimes that can be an issue though, because this hermit crab might not find a shell, and out in the wild, sometimes they've been finding pieces of plastic to live in, and that's not such a great home. So here's a job for you. Go at the beach or anywhere else and make sure that you pick up all of that trash, because we don't want hermit crabs like this one to end up using pieces of plastic. We want them to use the shells that they were meant to use. And that's what I've got for you.
We have met 2 critters today and heard about many more with Miss Tristan. But now let's join Miss Kaylee to make a craft of another critter.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our craft for What's Under the Rock. So today we're going to be making some really cool paper chains, either snakes or worms or whatever you want your little critter to be. But in order to make it, you're going to need a couple things first. So you're going to need some either construction paper or even recycled paper cut up into strips just like this. And of course, to cut up those strips, you're going to need some scissors. You're also going to need a glue stick, just like this, and some crayons of your favorite color. Those are gonna come later when we decorate our little creature. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take those loops, those paper strips, and turn them into loops. So just like that, you'll make that little rectangle into a looped circle. And you'll take some glue and glue the ends together just like that. Then you'll take another strip and put it right through there, glue it together, and then you'll start making all these links of circles. And you can make your paper chain as long as you want it to be or as short as you want it to be. I like to use different colors in mine, so my snake ended up being 2 colors 3 times. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 greens and 1, 2, 3 brown circles. So you can make yours as long as you want it to be, putting these circles together until you finally have either your little snake, I tried drawing a face for him, or it could even be something else like a worm with a little smiley face, or whatever you want it to be. So you can make your chain as long as you want it with as many colors, or you can just use the same colors over and over and make a really cool pattern. You'll finally take those crayons that you've got and you can either draw a face on your animal, or you can draw all over the circles and give them a really cool design. And that's how you make a paper chain snake or a paper chain worm.
That was a great craft, and I like how you can use different colors and be creative with what animal you make. I really enjoyed exploring new animals with you today. A great way to see even more creatures is to go outside with an adult and look around you. Maybe you look up and see the birds, or maybe you're gonna look at the ground and look for bugs. There are so many animals in the world around us. Come back next week to join us as we learn about animal care and rescue here at the Florida Aquarium. Bye, friends.
All right, guys, it is freeze dance time, so everybody out. We love penguins, so short and fabulous. We love penguins, cute and ridiculous. We love penguins, the most unanimous. We love penguins, 'cause penguins rock. Now they swim
up to 22 miles an hour. Yeah, they do. Their little penguin flippers provide them with plenty of power. It's true. These amazing flights of birds really rock my socks. I think we all agree that penguins rock. Come on, let's go crazy. We love penguins, so short and fabulous. We love penguins, cute and ridiculous. We love penguins, the most unanimous. We love penguins, 'cause penguins rock. Yeah, penguins rock. You know that penguins rock. Yeah, penguins rock. Good job, everybody. That was fun. See ya.
Well, my friends, that was quite a day. We had a lot of fun along the way. Even though the day is over, we don't say goodbye. We just say see you later till we hang out next time. See you later. See you later. See you later. See you later. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey-oh, hey-oh, we're AquaTots. Hey-oh, hey-oh, we're AquaTots. Hey-oh, hey-oh, we're AquaTots. Hey-oh, hey-oh,